Doctor Strange. All right, let's get into this one. Doctor Strange, it's the newest offering from the MCU. It is directed by one of my favorite directors all time because I'm a horror movie guy.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sam Raimi, one of the masters, man. And it's starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, and Rachel McAdams. And yeah, right off the bat, people want to say this is like a Disney horror movie, and in a lot of ways it is. And I don't know if it's just me. I'm an old jaded sicko when it comes to horror. So it was, even though there was like one time it actually did get me. One jump scare in there actually did kind of get me. But it was, I guess, for a Disney movie is pretty out there. But to me, it was kind of light. I don't know what you think.
It's a PG-13 rated movie for kids. That was heavy per that. Like, come on now. And you know me, I don't like horror movies, so it don't take much to freak me the fuck out.
Oh, was you scared? You were scared of this one, wasn't you?
I was scared, nigga. Relax.
You were scared. You was in there. Oh.
Relax. Still a Disney. Calm down. It did make me feel uneasy at times, so I won't like, but like on like a spiritual level, kind of like I was sitting there and I was like, I'm not gonna be that I'm not gonna be that Christian mom that has to make a Facebook post about like, well, here are the. And like I'm not that guy. I'm not on that tip. But even by my standards, I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know about all of this. I like the movie. It's just like sometimes I just get that nudge in my soul. You know what I mean? Whereas it's like you should be careful what you watch. I'm like, yeah, I understand. I hear you. I understand. I'm still gonna watch it, but I hear you. I get it. So it made me uneasy on that level. But like, did it scare me? No, these things don't scare me. It's a comic book movie. Relax.
I'll just play. Just to keep it like general. First off, you have to see Wanda. You kind of have to see WandaVision to not understand, but to get the full weight of like what's happening, like what's going on and whatnot. Because you might be a little lost. Watching this without seeing WandaVision. I don't know what you think.
I completely agree. And I'll follow that up with saying I really miss the days where having like being up to date with the movies just required you seeing the other movies. You know what I mean? Like I don't approve of this new approach they're taking where critical stuff is happening in their TV shows, because that should be supplementary material. You know, I'm not saying that like a dedicated fan shouldn't get more out of having seen everything that they do. I'm definitely not saying that, because if you are going to invest your time and energy into keeping up with them, then there should be something in there for the people who did watch WandaVision. But the plot of a movie shouldn't hinge on the plot of a TV show that came on. That's just odd to me, especially since Doctor Strange is a sequel. You know, this is Doctor Strange 2, but it doesn't function. And that's kind of one of my problems with the MCU in general. Their movies don't function well as sequels. You can't really watch, like you can't watch Iron Man 2, then go into Iron Man 3 and be completely on board if you skip the Avengers.
Yeah, that's true.
And you for damn sure can't watch Doctor Strange 2 right after Doctor Strange 1 with nothing else involved. They're like too much happened between.
Yeah, it's way too much happened in between those. Yeah, you'd be lost. Like lost. But
I don't think that's fair. You know what I mean? Like, again, if it was only contingent on keeping up with the movies, if you only had to see Infinity War and Endgame, and if you did that, you would still be up to date with Doctor Strange, then I'd be cool. But once I was watching the movie, now fortunately for me, I have seen the TV shows, but I was sitting there watching, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that I had to see WandaVision, because what if I just skipped it? You know what I mean? Like the movie hinges on the TV show.
Yeah, like you have. I think it's kind of cool that they're treating the TV shows with as much like care and like that they're doing the movies. So they are putting like critical story beats into the TV shows. So it's not I mean, honestly, it's a corporate thing too. So no, if you want to see what happens with the Avengers, you got to watch these 6 TV shows and sign up to Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? But and they know their audience too. Like they know we are ravenously like consuming everything they put out on the MCU. So whether it be the movies, the TV shows, like we're here for it, and we're ready for it. And they're like 14 years into the MCU at this point.
Something
So
like that.
it's becoming hella dense. It's almost like the comic books. Like you can't just pick up a comic book today and like know everything that's going on. If that's the first issue you had, it's like decades of backstory that you kind of have to know going into it. And now the movies, I mean, we've been at this for so long. The movies are kind of like that now. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's. I think it's going to come like the more time comes with this, the more it's going to be like that. So get used to it, bro. It's going to be. Is I don't think it's going to change. So if anything, it's only going to get worse. You know what I mean?
I think that's gonna tank them ultimately. I just don't. I don't think this is a good place to be, bro. I don't. I really don't. I'm like I remember in the trailer the way they framed it when Doctor Strange went to Wanda. She said, "What do you know about the multiverse?" And she was like, "Oh, well, I know a little bit here and there based on Viz's theories and whatnot." Which, based on WandaVision, yeah, she has a little bit of experience with it. So if it had been like Doctor Strange approached her and she's all right, how much do you know about it? And her explanation for knowing about it had to do with WandaVision. So if you hadn't seen the show, you would just know that Wanda learned it in the show, and now they can go off and do their adventure. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But considering what the actual plot of the movie is, which I won't get into until we get to the spoiler aspect, and we'll just say that that's not the case. I'm like the plot of the movie, Wanda's motivation don't even make sense if you haven't.
Yeah, if you because
You
you'd
know
be
what I
freaked
mean?
out. You because you would feel like you missed so much because like this like characters come up that you've never seen before. Like, wait, where did they come from? Like, when did that happen? And the whole thing. But you know what? Like moving on, like as a whole, like I love I love this movie. I love the visuals are still like top notch. You know what I mean? Like there were points in this movie where I was just I can't wait for this to come out on Blu-ray or the Disney Plus app so I can watch this again. This is gonna be one of those movies I watch like a couple times because like the visuals, especially like the interdimensional travel at one point where they were going through like all those different dimensions and stuff like that. That was incredible. Like the fights are like especially like there's a fight towards the end. Basically all the fights towards the end, I was just sitting there like, oh, this is the greatest ever. And just see as I had a Civil War moment on there where it's like, ah, damn, I'm watching like my comic books on screen. You know what I mean? It's still pretty cool to see that, seeing characters come up and fights come up and just seeing it play out in live action is really good. Um I have issues with some of the story because there's a character in there I have no idea who she is or whatever. But yeah, I think it was pretty dope for me. I don't know what you think.
Besides what I just said, I when I first saw the movie, I actually like really liked it, but then I had time to sit with it, which I'm finding is why I made the comments that I said about Phase 4 in general. I'm finding that a lot of the stuff that I watch in Phase 4, I like it upon first seeing it, but then when I sit with it, I like it a lot less. And my problem with Doctor Strange now is that a lot of the best parts of that movie feel like they're just there for the sake of saying that we did it. Like the multiversal travel really ultimately felt kind of just like, well, I think it would be cool if we just went through the multiverse. All right, cool, but like, and
I mean, it's the name of the movie, so yeah, I mean, they were going to do that at some point.
yeah, but I just thought it would be more like plot based instead of just like a commercial. And there's a particular group of characters that shows up maybe halfway through the movie, which I was excited for. And then ultimately they were kind of just like, all right, we gave it to you, moving on. I'm just like, yo, stop doing that. and the MCU is moving at the speed of light at this point, where you don't really get the chance to marinate with anything. And I was having trouble with a lot of the catharsis of the movie. Like when Doctor Strange meets up with Mordo, for example, it's been 2016 was 6 years ago. You know what I mean? And so, and when
Jeez.
Mordo and Strange parted ways at the end of the first movie, it was on some. I feel like you've desecrated the sanctity of the institution I've dedicated my entire life to. So now we can't be allies anymore. So it's like, in essence, I've waited 6 years to see what became of their relationship, what this new rivalry was going to look like. But because of the multiversal thing, it's not even that Mordo that he's dealing with. Like that Mordo is just Doctor Strange implies that they have some kind of history. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't get to see that. I don't get to see the rivalry that they've had over the last. We just don't have time to deal with that. I don't
No,
want.
no, that's the. I mean, that's the thing. That's something they're gonna keep in their back pocket, for the next installment.
That's a bad plan, brother. That's a bad plan. You can't like I can't care about this mortal's beef with the idea of Strange because like he doesn't have any beef with this guy. He has beef with a Strange somewhere. So when he sees another Strange, he's just like, well, by the transitive property. And I'm like, my nigga, no, like the mortal he was friends with. So when they became enemies, it hits harder because it's like they were allies, and Doctor Strange did what he thought was necessary.
Well, because in the movie, Doctor Strange actually kind of hints, and we can explore that more like later on. He kind of hints that maybe it wasn't as friendly as it was put on. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Mordo. I was laughing in the theaters because it's like, oh, so Mordo is just a universal hater. Like, no matter what universe he's on, he's just a hater. He's just like a Doctor Strange hater, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there's one out there where they are like friends or buddies or whatever, but yeah, it's not. It's
But that's not even what they sold us on. You know what I mean? That's them trying to rework it to kind of fit their current vision. It's Mordo clearly in the first movie, and it's more compelling this way anyway. Mordo clearly had beef with the hypocrisy. It wasn't just hating on it. Like he was like, I stand for something pure. You perverted that pure thing, and now I have an issue with you. And then in the second movie, they just go, well, really, he's just jealous. Don't do that. Don't be lazy like that. Don't insult me as an
what if
audience.
that's the but what if that's what's really going on with
That's
that, and
not what's really going
he's just
on, man.
doing he's saying all this stuff just to justify,
Nah,
like what his true feelings is. You know what I'm saying?
this is just phase 4 bull. That's what it is. It's
What? Oh, you know what? Through all this, I forgot that we do have like a main phase 4 villain too. Because we haven't seen him since Loki, actually.
Is he the main phase 4 villain, or did they just tell us that?
I mean, they had the whole big reveal, and yeah, they told us like, yeah, that Kang is coming. He's the big villain coming up. But where is he? Like, I haven't seen the dude since Loki. So it feels weird. It feels empty because at the end in the Thanos phase, he was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? He was at the end of everything. It was like, yeah, oh, don't forget, I'm coming. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, y'all gonna have to deal with me at some point. But Kang he's nowhere. I don't see him anywhere.
Because phase 4 is just about showing it off, like just being, hey, look at the comic spot that we're going into, look at the concept that we're digging into. And I guess I'm kind of low-key getting into the spoilers right now. It's like it's the same, it's the Illuminati, you know what I mean? Like, hey, it's like we're gonna bring in Captain Carter from the What If TV show just because people recognize that. We're gonna slice her in half exactly 2 minutes after we do that, but at least you got to say we're gonna
Okay,
go.
okay, hold. You get the head. You get in the head. Damn it, chill. I'm just have to put a big redacted thing over your over your screen when we get to this
Spoiler
part.
alert.
They say,
Haley
oh,
Atwell is probably not coming back in a future Marvel movie. Haley Atwell will not return. She is
Shocker.
done.
I don't know who else out there is expecting more than just a cameo, but yeah, she likely not coming back.
The
But
Illuminati should be more than a cameo. You know what? Never mind. Never mind. You got it. You got it.
so all right, I think all right, to wrap up this part, like I think it's one of my favorite MCU movies to date. And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of them. The horror elements were I'm the wrong one to ask about, like, horror in this. It was a lot darker, a little grotesque than, like, your regular MCU Disney movies. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. And I given this a straight up 5.
Oh, you're waiting for me?
Yeah, waiting on you, man. Which, and I knew it. I knew you were gonna come with it. I knew you were gonna come with it. A 3. Okay, all right. I'm not mad at it. It's not your thing, so
I'm more disappointed than anything. And I'm not even ironically disappointed because, like, there are people on Facebook who are mad because, like, Ang Lee's Hulk didn't appear. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I wasn't even expecting shit like that.
The hell wants that?
they wanted the multiverse to really be like, they wanted Ghost Rider to be in that. They wanted Deadpool to show up. Like, I didn't need all of that. And I'm not really upset about the multiversal elements in the sense that, like, I wasn't waiting for somebody to show up who didn't show up, and then I went, oh well, this movie is bad because it didn't. No, I think they took the concept, and I think that they sacrificed a lot of what they could do with it because it's just a byproduct of the speed in which they're handling things now. They're not taking the same level of care. They're really just more interested in the flashy now, more so than before.
Okay.
I feel like this hasn't been going on long enough to be nostalgic for a time greater, but I do think the MCU's best years are
behind it.
Yeah, and not even because you can't top that story, but because they just feel like that approach is outdated. But that really slow, meticulous approach is why that story is so phenomenal. And it's why nothing that you do now is going to be able to touch it, because you won't slow down. You won't just take a minute, relax. Niggas is going to keep watching, whatever. You took the Illuminati, something people have been theorizing about since Nick Fury showed up in Tony's house, and you just said F it. And I'm like, all right. I mean, the story was compelling. The villain was cool. The fights were great. It looked fantastic.